during the Revolutionary War, before we have our Constitution, so the capital's moving all over the place. It's in Trenton, New Jersey, it's down here, it's in Philadelphia, it's in New York, it's all over the place. So it spends a year here, and this is a really important, some important things happen here. First of all, the Treaty of Paris gets signed here, ending the Revolutionary War, so we're the first peacetime capital for Annapolis. But more importantly, again, going to our leadership theme, is George Washington came here in December 1783 and changed the course of history by doing something an amazing leader only does, which is returning power to his people. So what am I talking about? So Washington was commissioned to be the leader of our Revolutionary Army. The war was over. Everybody expected him to continue to be the leader, right? He would be our next emperor, our king, and basically George, simplifying it, said, I just fought against that for 7 years. No, my commission came from the people. I'm returning power to the people. I'm returning power over the military to the people. Boom, huge, huge concept, right? And so Congress meeting here said, okay, you're gonna have to do that live. You're gonna have to come here and do that. So they developed very quickly a protocol. So Washington arrives here in December 1783. We throw some really great parties for him right here, right in the old State House. And one night while he's here, he sits down and he writes his resignation speech. Smart move. The state of Maryland was able to purchase that in the last 20 years. And this is it right here. So this is the original document. This is what George Washington sat down and wrote. It's transcribed in the ground. So he wrote his resignation speech here. We'll talk a little bit more about his resignation. We're just going to walk through a couple of rooms real quickly, and then I got to get you guys headed downtown. So follow me.
Never before had a victorious general retired from the theater of war and delivered the power of the military.
So this is the old Senate chamber, so you have to imagine there are tables and chairs here, so the senators are getting ready to meet and so on. But today this room's been kind of reconfigured to be more of a portrait gallery. The portraits behind us in white are the folks who actually attended some of the people who attended Washington's resignation. Down at the bottom we have James McHenry of Fort McHenry fame. Up at top is Sir Robert Eden. He was the English governor over Maryland before the Revolutionary War. And so we kind of kicked him out during the Revolutionary War, but he came back. He was kind of friendly with people here, expecting to get his land back. That didn't go so well. And he ends up passing away here, and he's actually buried in St. Anne's Church Cemetery, right on Church Circle. But I want to talk about the woman up here, the only woman up here. What's the deal with her? So she's married to the local printer. She and her husband have 14 children together. That's not why her picture's up there, but it's enough for me. Right?
She looks tired.
So here's the thing. So her husband's the printer. In modern parlance, he's the marketing, he's the business development guy, he's moving and shaking, he's drinking with everybody, having a good time, getting business in, and then he dies. 1767. So Anne Catherine Green takes over her husband's printing business. Think about that. Runs it better than he does because she's more of an operations person. So she consolidates things, gets everything running well, and then she goes to the Maryland legislature and says, hey, I'd like to continue printing for you like my husband and I had done. How about it? And the legislature's, that's great, that's a great idea. But here's the thing, we're just going to pay you less, because you're a woman. And she had the gumption to actually push back on it. And she got the Maryland legislature to pay her to say that they had paid her husband. So back in 1767, she's rocking things. So I love talking about her. Unfortunately, she passes away in 1774, and I would have loved to have seen some of the things that she would have done during the Revolutionary War, but I just love that we have her portrait up here. So our last stop is we're going to be in the room where Washington resigned this commission. It's been completely redone a few years ago to look exactly, as best we can tell, like it did December 23rd, 1780. So as you're walking, just imagine it's December 23rd, 1783, sitting around here, the members of the Continental Congress, sitting in these chairs. Sitting up at the front is the President of the Continental Congress, interestingly a guy who'd served under Washington, a guy named Thomas Mifflin from Pennsylvania. Washington comes in, reads his resignation speech, which we saw outside. When he's done, the protocol was we just tipped our caps. There was no toast or anything. We'd done plenty of that the night before. He hands in his commission to Thomas Mifflin. We believe he dishes off his resignation speech to James McHenry, and it was from the McHenry family that the Maryland State Archives people were able to purchase it. He gets escorted out of town, and he rides to Mount Vernon in time for Christmas. So you all notice the woman up there. What's the deal with her? We know what Washington looks like, but that's Molly Ryder. So Molly, we know was here that day. We know she would have been up there, not on the first floor, because guess who wasn't allowed on the first floor? It was not proper for women to be on the first floor, so she would have had to have been up there. She writes a letter to her mother describing the events of the day. One of the pieces of documentation we used when we redid this room a few years ago. So we wanted to honor her. Problem is we didn't know what she looked like, but what we did know is what Rachel Rideout looked like. So Rachel Rideout grew up in town, and Rideouts have lived in Annapolis for 250 years. They're actually very involved in local history. So she's living up in New York City. She agrees to wear colonial attire, get her photo taken in colonial attire, and then the sculptor used her image and made that sculpture. And when it was done and installed up there, she came into town and got a picture taken with her likeness. Pretty cool. That's how we figured out who she was.